Welcome to the We the People Speak Town Hall meeting, the second listening session organized by the Town Hall Coalition, the first being in April of last year. Like in April, legislators are not in attendance today, but a video recording will be provided to them. Each of the legislators did respond to our requests and respectfully were declining and or unable to attend. Thank you for showing up for democracy, sharing your thoughts, and networking. This event was dutifully organized by the League of Women Voters of Janesville, the Town Hall Coalition, and Indivisible of Rock County. Our event is co-sponsored by the Leagues of Women Voters of Beloit and Whitewater area, the Diversity Action Team, the NAACP, and the YWCA, and is recommended by the Rock River Democratic Socialists of America. Please visit our sponsor tables in the common areas for more information. You can register to vote for the April election and get key information on our Unite and Rise 8.5 initiative to defend democracy at the League of Women Voters tables. Please be aware that this event is being live streamed and video recorded, and pictures are being taken. Now, I invite Joe Bernhardt, representing Indivisible, and Neil Dupree, representing the Town Hall Coalition, to share some particulars about our event. Joe.
Thank you, Brad. I'm Joe Bernhardt from Indivisible Rock County, and I'm very happy to be here. This is a wonderful opportunity for people to come and listen to each other. Before I retired, I was the principal at an elementary school, and I spent a lot of time dealing with issues going on, primarily at recess. There was a lot of anxiety, a lot of tension, and there were like three themes that you would hear over and over again. One is who started it. The other one is one person complaining about what another person was doing. And the third was unfair. So if those themes sound familiar, I can tell you that kids were really good at resolving this, though. When you sat and talked with them and they had the chance to talk to each other and listen to each other, they could always work it out. They might not agree, but they could come to an understanding. So I'm very happy to have this opportunity for all of us to listen to each other and talk to each other. So I'm in charge of telling you about the logistics. If you haven't visited the bathrooms yet and need that, they're directly out the doors and down the hall. We have a number of ushers around wearing yellow vests. They can help you too. I want to give special thanks to the staff at Craig High School for helping us to have this venue and all the work they did in making this happen. There was a lot that went into it, and we very much appreciate that. So there are two ways during this town hall event that you can communicate. One is if you choose not to speak at a microphone, you have the opportunity to write comments. You might have received an index card from an usher coming in. If you didn't get one and you want one, raise your hand and an usher will come around and give you one. Or if you need a pen or a pencil, let the ushers know. And that is an opportunity for you to write down what you're thinking. If you just want to share that, and as you know, it's going to go to our congressional delegation, you don't have to put your name on it unless you want a response from them. And if you want it to go to a particular one of our congressional delegation, you need to write on there who you want this to be delivered to. If it's to go to all four, then it doesn't matter. But then in that case, you would need to put your name and email address on it so that they have the opportunity to respond to you. And then you can also use those cards if later, even if you've spoken and later you think of something else that you want to add, those cards can be used for that. So as you leave today, the ushers can collect the cards, but there will also be someone standing at each of the two main entrances with a blue basket to collect the cards. So the other opportunity for you to communicate is by coming up to the microphone and speaking. So we ask that people come down the side aisles and come to the microphone, and then after you're done, you'll go up the center aisle to go back to your seat. So you'll have 90 seconds to say what you would like to say. There are timers present who will be holding up signs to let you know when you have 30 seconds left, when you have 10 seconds left, and then when you need to stop. And we are asking you all kindly to respect that time frame so that everybody has time to talk. So I think that's all that I need to tell you about the logistics. And Brad already mentioned that we were recording this. We'd be sharing this with the congressional delegation. So now I'll turn it over to Neil Dupree.
The one thing Joe didn't tell us was where the bathrooms are. Yes, she did. Okay, I wasn't listening. All right, good. Okay, I'm Neil Dupree. I guess I'm oversensitive to that topic, as old as I am, and I'm part of the Town Hall Coalition. We have called this a town hall because we intend it to be a place for our community to come together to assess issues and propose solutions. Town halls have worked in the history of our country. They've worked because we recognize each other as neighbors, not as people on one side or another. And problems get solved when we work together as a team. They work because we listen and learn from each other. They work because we respect each other's opinions. We respect them even when they're different from ours, maybe especially when they're different from ours. So today, we ask you out of respect to listen to everyone who speaks, to not interrupt or jeer. We hope that there can be time for everyone to speak who wants to, and you can help time to be used efficiently by giving each other a full minute and a half to do that. At our first town hall meeting last spring, we did a great job of respectfully listening, and I'm trusting and hoping that we can repeat that here today. We are a community. We do good work together when we work together.
All right, anyone who would like to speak can start lining up. And we were going to start with this mic, but I see someone right over there, so let's start right there.
Hello. Can you guys hear me okay? Yes. Yeah, my name is Paul. I'm going to be 77 this year. And Truman was in the White House when I was born. I've seen a lot of lies, witnessed them. I saw Kennedy get his head blown off. 56 years ago, I was in Fort Ord during Vietnam. A lot of lies going on. I witnessed Watergate, Iran-gate, Bill Clinton, and weapons of mass destruction. Normally, I'm pretty much apolitical. But immigration is something I know something about because I have lived in that infamous country of El Salvador, which you've heard a lot about, right? Anybody not know where El Salvador is? I lived there about 20 years ago. I stayed there for about over a year. And I witnessed open-air drug dealing, open-air prostitution, the MS-13, the SCOs. I walked in among them. What's going on at the border is not what you hear. The MS-13 and the SCOs have their own pipeline. They come and go as they please. They will buy their end of the country. They will murder their end of the country, cut your head off, and mail it to your relatives. The people at the border are not drug dealers. They come across the border, the people trafficking that you see, people come across the border, girls 10 to age 16, they come into Texas, the rapes occur by Americans. American people go into the bordello and rape girls. Thank you very much. Anybody got any questions about Salvador? You come and see me. Thank you.
My name is Brennan, and I am a teacher and lifelong Janesville resident. Much can be said about what's wrong with this world and what I want changed. whether it's meaningful action to combat the climate crisis, the end to the genocide in Gaza, and prosecution of those who facilitated it, or abolishing ICE. However, I think it's important to also think small. I think it's great that we're all here, lost my place, sorry, with the desire to hold our politicians accountable. They didn't show up, so go figure. The Republicans want to make our lives worse, and the Democrats can't really come up with a meaningful plan to make our lives better or stop the fascist policies being implemented by the current administration. At the end of the day, they care more about their corporate donors than their constituents, us. Ultimately, it falls on us, the people of the city and county, to be there, to come together, to talk to one another, and collaborate. Only us together can bring meaningful action. I myself am working with the Rock River DSA. Got a pin right here. If you aren't already, now is the time to find a local group to bring real meaningful change to our lives. The more people that come together and take action, the greater momentum we will have. That's all I wanted to say. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Bill Chandler from Whitewater, and my comments are based on two books. The Price of Democracy, The Revolutionary Power of Taxation in American History, and Tax the Rich. Whoever controls the taxes controls the economy, controls the country. Taxes are the venue that we need to be in control of. That dangling proposition, sorry about that. Revolutions always occur from the bottom up because of inequalities. Right now our income gap is huge and growing. Is the democracy reversible? I believe it is. However, a lot of damage has been done, and it'll take time to restore. The first step is to elect Chris Taylor to the state Supreme Court and gain the trifecta in Wisconsin on April 7th, and elect Democrats in November at the midterms. The majority of us can overcome the minority and create a tax code that is fair for everyone, because power belongs to the people.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name's Gerald Rieger. I'm 66, and I'm from Janesville, Wisconsin. I don't have any notes with me or no monitor. I'm just going to wing it. Okay, you probably don't even need this speaker because I talk pretty loud. But anyway, I'm a big promoter of peace. And we've been fighting wars since the beginning of time, with war, greed, power, religion, oil, lots of different things. And I think we need to stop all the wars. They've been going on since the beginning of time, and I'd like to see one day where every source of media in the world at the same time of the day, over television, radio, whatever, in every language, plays the song by John Lennon, and I don't know if you're a music fan, but I am, plays Give Peace a Chance. That's all I have to say.
I'm Norm Olivaugh from Orfordville, Wisconsin, and I want to tell you I'm also a patriot and a former United States Navy officer. That was many, many years ago. A767627. You never forget your serial number. I don't like what's happening to my country anymore, especially today. But at community events like this, we can come together and express our reasons for being unhappy. And I'm glad to see so many people here today. I remember what Tom Hartman says.
Democracy isn't a spectator sport. Tag, you're it. And so that's everybody here in this room. I think we need to send a message, because this is being broadcast live out throughout Janesville and, of course, through the internet. But we always have our favorite saying when we're down at the protest. So let's let Janesville know. What does democracy look like? This is what democracy looks like. What does democracy look like? This is what democracy looks like. What does democracy look like? This is what democracy looks like. The lady down here says we have to stop, or else we can go all afternoon.
Hello, my name is John Perryman. I'm from Williams Bay. I'm a Democratic candidate for the State Assembly in the 31st District. There's two words that start with the letter E that I want to briefly discuss. One is emoluments. I just remember that being discussed a lot in the first Trump term. I haven't heard it discussed much since, and it's really appropriate now, so we have to think about the corruption that's happening. The other word is the environment. And recently, the EPA rolled back a lot of the regulation having to do with greenhouse gases in terms of their effect on public health. Now, I'm also a pediatrician, and that is why this is a really important issue to me, because greenhouse gases contribute to the deaths of thousands of people a year due to air pollution. And even in Wisconsin, it's probably attributed to about 2,000 people a year who die from pollution from coal power plants, from automobile emissions and things like that. The rolling back of these regulations is dangerous, and it's also just dumb, because solar is one of the cheapest ways we can generate electricity. But I would just want everyone to be aware that these regulations have been rolled back. They also have cut back on rules regulating emissions of mercury and other things from coal power plants. So these are things that are being done by the Trump administration that not only are bad for the environment, they're bad for our health. So I just want to let you know about that. Thank you very much.
Just as a reminder, we can line up for the other mic too. We can line up for either of the mics. You can stand in line while you are listening to the other comments. So please go ahead and line up if you would like to speak.
Hi, my name's Laura Lowry. I'm from Jefferson, Wisconsin. I'm very nervous. The current administration has said that DOGE would initially save us $2 trillion. Then they scaled that back to $1 trillion. But estimates are that they only saved between $2 and $160 billion. All from downsizing federal government departments by firing hardworking Americans, gutting research funding at universities like UW-Madison, and pulling financial support for the safety net programs for children, the sick, elderly, disabled, and the poor. Where was Congress? As for the DOGE check, I'm not holding my breath. The current administration says that we collected $18 trillion in revenue from the tariffs. Actually, so far we have collected around $200 billion from January to December of 2025. The current administration has said that the other countries would pay for the tariffs and that costs would come down for goods and manufacturing jobs would return. Where was Congress? As for this tariffs check, I'm not holding my breath. Most of us are treading water and more are drowning, wondering if the next time they go under, if they will be able to come back up. Congress is not doing anything. They need the moral clarity that the residents of Minneapolis have. They see that not only are their community members drowning, but many are being torn apart by sharks. They aren't just hanging in without worrying about if they can swim, but they are doing cannonballs off the high dive while Congress isn't even putting their toes to test the water. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Jill. I live in Janesville. I have something to say to 3 representatives. Thank you to Tammy Baldwin and Mark Pocan for abiding by their office, protecting and defending our Constitution. I do have a question for Congressman Stile about the Save America Act. It might do the opposite. The SAVE Act requires those who want to email their ballot in to provide proof of their citizenship, even if they have previously qualified and registered to vote. I agree with having a voter ID. The SAVE Act adds other roadblocks. Imagine this. You are a voter in your 70s, I'm 80, who doesn't drive. Your birth certificate is in a state far away. Your married last name was changed from your maiden name. Now your husband is gone. Can you get a ride somewhere and prove that you are a citizen and then get your mail in a ballot or get your ballot in the mail? How about this one? You're a 20-year-old college student attending a Wisconsin university, but you live out of state. Will your student ID prove you're a U.S. citizen? Well, Mr. Stile, please consider, when a right-wing Heritage Foundation assembled data on election fraud, a bipartisan group found only 77 cases of voting fraud between 1977 and 2023. We the people don't need a voter ID Act.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Brendan Fanning. I'm in the process of moving from Evansville to Janesville at the moment. But I wanted to take a moment to talk about what's happening in the federal government, specifically with Attorney General Pam Bondi and DHS Secretary Kristi Noem. Since coming into office, they have weaponized the Justice Department against Trump's political enemies. They have sent ICE agents to terrorize different communities around the country and even killed American citizens for just practicing their First Amendment right, and seemingly with no consequences for the murderers. So I would like to encourage the representatives, if they're watching, that it's time to seriously consider articles of impeachment or pressuring these 2 Trump appointees to step down and stop terrorizing American citizens in our communities. Thank you.
Hi there. My name is Danielle. I'm a co-chair of the local Democratic Socialists of America group here in Rock County. I'm a nurse and I'm a mom. My children have benefited from public schools, my disabled father from Medicare and Medicaid, and my partner and I from community support when we had very little. I'm disheartened to see our social safety nets at risk and our communities torn apart. To be brief, I'll just say ICE out, Medicare for all, and workers unite. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is John Daniels. I was born in Janesville, grew up in the area, and I'm going to try and wing it today, too. I would like to introduce my mother, Betty Ruth Daniels, who couldn't be here today. Dad passed away a little while back, and today would have been his 98th birthday. So she's missing that husband, who was a Navy World War II veteran, husband of 77 and a half years. She just didn't feel up to being here today herself. Mom is a lifetime resident of this area. She was a Rosie the Riveter. In World War II, she drilled holes and firing pins to Parker Pen Plant for the war effort. She's also a daughter of the American Revolution. She's the mother of a Vietnam combat veteran. She's the mother of 2 Army veterans. I'm one of those. Mom is very concerned about what's happening today in our country. She is a patriot of the old school. She still flies the American flag every day that the weather allows. We would like to see this country get back to a saner approach to life. Let's get back to the we the people. Thank you.
I'm Coral Swanson from Janesville. In our past, we had a president who called upon the better angels of our nature after the Civil War. In our past, we had a president who, in the midst of a world on the brink of war, reminded us we had nothing to fear but fear itself. In my living past, we had a president who challenged us to use the best of our energies and skills to explore space and to choose to go to the moon. Today, we have a president whose vision for us is a string of detention and concentration camps across the United States to fulfill his mass deportation scheme. We are seeing a level of immigration enforcement unprecedented in modern history. What does it take to make such a scheme reality? It takes a major shift in the profile of who is arrested and detained. There has been a 2,450% increase in the number of people with no criminal records being held in ICE detention. It takes a major infusion of cash, $6 billion 10 years ago, to $45 billion ICE detention alone through the One Big Beautiful Bill. I call upon our representatives to stop funding this cruel insanity that is leading us to chaos and damaging the soul of our country.
Hi, my name is Kelly Goodster, and what is going on in our country today is literally ripping me apart. Just to see how people are being treated, it's just inhumane. And my family is very diverse. I've got a mixed granddaughter. I've got mixed nieces and nephews whom I love dearly with all my heart, and I wouldn't have it any other way. And to hear how some of these people are being treated and put in these concentration camps, which is what they are, it's just horrible. And to call themselves Christians when they treat people like this. We are all created in God's image as equals and are to take care of each other and treat each other with love and respect. Something needs to change here because what's going on right now is just inhumane and inexcusable. Thank you.
My name's Tony. I've been a Janesville resident for almost 14 years, and I'm not going to wing it because I get really carried away. Just would like everybody for a second to, if you can just briefly close your eyes and pretend like you're a million miles above and look down on us. And now I'm going to start. As we all know, our kids and our grandkids deserve a much better world than we are handing over to them. We have enabled tech bros and their disruptive technologies, and their enormous piles of cash and other special interest money and wealthy tax-dodging pedophiles to rule the world. That is exactly where we are today. They all know that, Dem or Republican. It doesn't matter. The question is what are you doing about it? So while the rest of the world topples their elites and their powerful people for their involvement with the Epstein crimes, what are we doing? What are you doing? We have to be prepared to act this fall because there will most likely be voter interference, and that's going to be the time that we need to be ready to respond, and we all need to be thinking about what that's going to look like in our own worlds. I would like to, real quick, if you have not listened to an Ezra Klein podcast from this last week, it's called The Infrastructure of Jeffrey Epstein. You need to get on that and listen. It is phenomenal. Thank you.
Good afternoon. My name is William Hartje. I live in Evansville, and I work with Indivisible Rock County. I'd like to address the big ugly bill that passed this last summer by Republicans in Congress. It's bad enough that it'll take decades to recover from this, but we only have 90 seconds to talk about things. Senator Ron Johnson rails against federal debt, at least when there's a Democratic president, and then expands the debt when there's a Republican in office. When he came into office in 2011, the national debt was at $13.5 trillion. This last year, it reached $38 trillion. And the Congressional Budget Office estimates another $4 trillion will be added because of that bill. The major elements of that were tax cuts for the wealthy and corporations. To pay for them, they cut in a number of ways. They cut aid, U.S. aid. The estimates are that somewhere around 14 million additional deaths will take place around the world because of that, including 4.5 million children. The additional cuts come in Medicare, Medicaid, addition for the poor, and so on. The trade-offs that they have then are to spend the money on ICE and to spend the money on other things that the president wants them to do. Brian Stile won't speak out against any of this because he's afraid that he might lose the support of the president and therefore the primary, and he wouldn't have his job in office anymore. Well, that's unfortunate. In the next elections coming up, we need to make sure that we get rid of both of those people. Thank you.
Mr. Stile, I'm Alyssa Capizzello. I'm a Janesville resident. Mr. Stile, when I email you about issues, I receive the cookie cutter mega talking points in return, but no real solutions to the actual issues. I want to know what you're doing to protect our lakes, our beautiful state from predatory tech oligarchs. What are you doing to ensure the safety of your constituents in the midst of ICE and the Department of Homeland Security? Are you inspecting these concentration camps to make sure people's constitutional rights are being honored? You are enabling the Epstein crimes with your support to this administration and slowing progress in our state. As one of your constituents, I ask you to honor our voices by taking a stand against the corruption of this administration. Your silence will not protect you or us. Community and love will prevail. Join us in our fight.
Hi, I'm Mark. I didn't prepare anything, but I'm always inspired when I see everybody showing up or protesting. And I've been thinking for a long time about propaganda, especially in terms of fascism. There are psychological studies about the efficacy that children enjoy when they first learn that they can have an effect in the world. When that's taken away from them, and I don't want to imagine those experiments, the results are dramatic. Anger, withdrawal, etc. I sort of think that what's happening right now is that we are recapturing some of that joy in any of the actions or gestures that we're doing. I can't predict how that's going to go, but there's something, I don't know if you feel it inside. Propaganda is very deep, so it takes a long time to figure out, what's going on. I'm over 70 and it's still there. But I do think that recapturing of our ability to have an effect. We've been told that our voices don't matter in all sorts of different ways. I think that is now shattering, and I see that as a light of hope. And I thank you for it, and tell your neighbors that I thank them for it. Thank you.
Edie knew to lower the microphone for me. My name is Vivian Creekmore. I live in the area. I belong to the Democratic Party of Wisconsin in Rock County and to the Town Hall Coalition and a couple of other things. I wanted to start by telling you a short story. I was preoccupied by the child in the blue bunny hat. I thought I would lose my mind over that. So some years ago, we went on vacation. We had a little Maltese, and our daughter was home taking care of the dog. But we weren't there. She was in college, and she was pretty busy. When we came home, only being gone a week, our dog was practically comatose. She was lying in her bed, unresponsive, and wouldn't eat or drink. My daughter had to hold her in her arms and feed her by hand. When we came in, she didn't recognize our voices. She didn't move. She looked dead. And we had to hold her in our arms for quite a while and feed her by hand for a couple of days. So what I want to say is ICE is abnormal. Their behavior is pathological, immoral, and illegal. Thank you.
Don't be shy. Does anyone else want to talk? You can talk about anything you want. I think we have someone over there.
Hi, my name is Rob Suter. I'm from Janesville, and my government is currently building a network of concentration camps. My government is doing that. No government has ever built a network of concentration camps for the purpose of keeping them empty. They will fill them. They will start with the immigrants, and then they will move to us. It must be stopped. My representatives up here are not stopping it. We need a change, and if they won't produce that change, we have to. Never again is not a slogan, it is a promise.
Hi, my name is Representative Breanne Brown. I am the representative for the 43rd District in Wisconsin, which is Whitewater, Milton, Edgerton, and the east side of Janesville on the east side of the interstate. I'm here because Representative Pocan and Senator Baldwin have been amazing to work with when we've had a lot of problems. We, at the state level, can talk with them and have our constituents get extra help if it's a federal issue, so I want you to know they're working really hard for you. But with the big beautiful bill, or the big ugly bill, there really is a lot of financial strain on Wisconsin now. We are dealing with a lot of issues with, I'm on the Veterans Committee and Ag Committee, so my farmers are suffering, veterans are suffering. It's really important that we all work together. And I know that if you're here, you're already working a lot on things, but don't just read the news and complain on Facebook. Definitely, bake your neighbor cookies and go to meetings. Read the newspaper, actually support your local newspaper. A lot of them are owned by monopolies, but it's super important that we support local and we support each other. And the other thing that's really important is that we had a lot of wins this week in the state legislature. We worked really hard for you. And just know that if you have issues at the federal level, let us know too. We are in direct communication with federal people such as Baldwin and Pocan, and we are working to do our best, and more of the responsibilities are going to fall on us because the federal government has basically abandoned us. Thank you.
Well, my name is Alex Harris. I've lived in this town for over 35 years, 68 years old. Did a few things in Iraq and whatever else. I'm tired of my representatives, or I should say this country, where they don't give a hoot about the Constitution that we all fought for and we all gave. Ron Johnson, goofball style, doesn't belong in office. They do nothing. The Republican regime cares nothing about the Constitution. They step all over it. It is sad, and I wish this whole stadium was full of people. There should be. I'm sad that we got this situation going on. I can't say anything but sadness. It makes me where I don't sleep too good at night. Actually, I don't know what to say. I'm sad. So I'll leave you people be, and somebody else can come up here. God bless.
Okay. My name is Denise Horn, and I would like to ask the legislators in Wisconsin what they're going to do about, there's a proposal in Wisconsin law that says if people don't have, if they're in the hospital and they don't have the power of attorney, medical attorney, all that kind of stuff already written, that someone from the hospital can be appointed to you to make those decisions. And the reason why that's like that is because they're wanting to move people out of the hospital quicker. And I read the law, and I have a lot of questions about, and I've read that those things that are being proposed, there's no way that you can reverse them because they haven't decided how it will be reversed when people get out of the hospital. So I would like to have more clarity of what's going to be done, because if that representation is not given back to us, then we're not controlling our lives.
Hi there, my name is Nick Clifton. I'm a retired Air Force tech sergeant. I live in Janesville, and I'd like to give you a little perspective that's a very Wisconsin perspective about the kind of leaders that we have in this country right now. So if you do a little research, you'll find that Jeffrey Dahmer served longer in the military, was accused of raping less people, and was responsible for fewer deaths, and probably paid more taxes than Donald Trump. So, just a little perspective on the kind of monsters that are currently running this country and are in the Epstein files. So, I think we should give them all the same treatment. Thank you.
My name is Rob Wilkinson. I've lived in Janesville since 1965. I'm a retired police officer, I'm a veteran, and Norm is right, you never ever forget your serial number. The reason I decided to speak is because we need to take action. These groups here are fighting for our rights. They are fighting for all Americans, everybody in this country. One thing that we should try and do is emulate. We are Minnesota. Those people are fighting for all of us. We need to do the same thing. They are setting a terrific example and they're paying the price. We need to show that we can do the same. Thank you.
I'm getting lonely on this side.
Shall I come over there? Hi, I'm Jean Carfora, and this is not a usual comfortable place for me, but one thing I'd like to say is that I'm thrilled to see all of you. I'm disappointed that we haven't heard
rationalizations from the other side. And we're a democracy, so where are they? Fear has given so much to our country. When Trump promised that illegals that were rapists or, all those people, those were the ones that he was going to deal with. I understood that, and I was excited with that idea. But when we see what's happening, we just have to speak up and make a difference. When I heard that, thank you. When I heard that the board of the directors of peace, the board of peace, was being formed by Trump, I questioned it. But then when I heard that he was donating, he had chosen all the committee people, and then when he was donating $10 billion, where did those dollars come from? Us. Yes. So we need to speak up. We have to. Thank you.
All right, my name is Margaret Lowell. I live in Janesville here, and I just want to say a shaky voice is still a voice, so I'm going to be shaky a little bit here. I first want to talk about the SAFE/MEGA Act. It's going to disenfranchise women. Brian Stile put in forth the MEGA Act, Make Elections Great Again. You're going to disenfranchise women, especially married women that have changed their names. And it's also basically a toll tax, because you're going to have to pay for your birth certificate and you're going to have to pay for your passport. And that's a lot of money that people don't have, especially now. I also want to say that I'm a nurse and I'm seeing a lot of distrust in healthcare. I'm seeing a lot of attack on vaccines, and I'm seeing a lot of people come in a lot sicker because they cannot do preventative care. I also want to talk about ICE, how they are going against the First, Second, and Fourth Amendment, and probably others as well. We need to fight against it. I'm worried as a nurse that they're going to come in the hospitals and try and take my patients and my patients' families while I have vented patients. I have families that are worried to even come visit their family member. I also want to say save our lakes and national parks, no to data centers. I know that there's a proposition for a data center here. We cannot have that. We are going to destroy our rivers. And then finally, I just want to say, ICE out, free Palestine, free Iran, and stop protecting pedophiles. And Brian Stile, I'm Margaret Lowell. I'm the one calling you.
My name is Sancho Carafora. I'm from Janesville, Wisconsin. And I want to thank you all for being here. I just think about our hearts, and our hearts hurt because how our country at this moment is being just divided among itself. And I agree with Jane was saying, we really should be listening to the other side and find out where they're coming from. Recently, I was reading in Our Daily Bread, and I'm not a regular reader of biblical scriptures, but Proverbs says, before a downfall, the heart is haughty. John Taylor was a British eye surgeon in the 1700s who, driven by arrogance, fabricated a prestigious reputation. He pursued celebrities and became the personal eye doctor for George II. Taylor traveled the country performing medical shows that promised miracle cures, often escaping towns under the cover of night, carrying bags of overflowing with villagers' cash. However, records suggested Taylor was a charlatan and likely blinded hundreds of patients. History remembers him not only as a medical luminary, but as the man who destroyed the eyesight of two of the century's greatest composers, Bach and Handel. Taylor craved reputation and acclaim, but his legacy declares his lies and the embarrassment and hurt he caused. Proverbs explains how egotistical addictions lead to devastation. My question to our representatives: what are we going to do to stand up to the egotistical narcissism that's taking place in Washington today? We need to make a difference. And if it doesn't happen in Washington, it has to happen in the cities and the states, because then we are the ones that have to check our presidents who is not respecting the balance of power. and checks and balances. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. My name is Christina, and I'm from Janesville. I am asking our representatives who are pictured up there to please strongly consider boycotting the State of the Union on Tuesday. The Trump administration is acting as an illegitimate administration. He is engaging in unprecedented corruption to enrich himself and his family and friends. He has taxed us without our consent illegally, as the Supreme Court just established yesterday. And he has committed so many abuses with his secret police that I can hardly even describe them. He has brutalized citizens and legal residents alike. He is behaving as an illegitimate tyrant and dictator, and no one should be listening to his State of the Union on Tuesday. So representatives, please boycott this. Thank you.
I'm too nervous. Hi, I'm Gail Farragon. I have lived in Illinois in a small town for many years where 75% of the population are immigrants. Gee, we had no murders, we had no crime. And I taught those poor children, and I think about the fact that those poor children are now probably adults on the ICE list. And I just want to cry because it's so horrible, the treatment. But the real reason I'm up here is women need to unite, and we need to tell our younger selves what it was like in the 70s when we didn't have rights and we were considered by horrible people, and I think you know who I'm talking about, that women were nothing but a piece of meat. And I don't want my granddaughters to grow up in a world where they do not have the respect. I hope I brought my son up. He has respect for women. He has respect for women. But we have to let the younger women know their rights are being challenged. And Pete Hegseth and the Christian nationalism, they don't want women to vote. They want only, if you're married, to vote through your husband. I know a little bit about Project 2025, and what I know scares me to death. Thank you for listening.
My name is Nancy. I've lived in Janesville since 1966. Like many of you, I am very distressed by the actions of the ICE agents and the trauma that they're inflicting on the immigrant communities. Many of those people are just hardworking people trying to make a good life for themselves and their families, and they contribute to our communities. We all benefit from them being here. So what can be done? ICE can be reformed, and I think it can be reformed if the legislators would just do their job and hold the leaders accountable for what's being happening here. They need to investigate why or how ICE is recruiting the thugs that we see implementing the policies. They need to ask questions about what kind of training these people are getting. They need improved supervision, no masks, body cameras, accountability when innocent people are denied First Amendment rights or murdered. And the accountability needs to start, first of all, with our legislators, and they need to start asking Kristi Noem some questions.
My name is Linda, and I'm from Janesville. You were all elected to work for the people, and we pay your salary. We ask you to do your jobs. The legislative branch must take their power back from the administration branch. He is misusing and abusing presidential powers with the influence of Miller, Vaught, and Teal, who are actually the puppet pulling the puppet strings. Stealing apportioned tax dollars, dropping bombs on fishing boats, putting illegal tariffs and taxes in place, funding a Gestapo-type terrorist army, imprisoning citizens, legal immigrants on the path to citizenship, and children in concentration camps with inhumane conditions, deporting citizens and veterans who have fought for this country without due process, murdering citizens on our street, threatening war with Iran, and takeovers of Canada and Greenland, and undermining constitutional free and fair elections, and on and on and on. Privatizing the DOJ for his needs and wants, destroying evidence to prosecute a gang of billionaire pedophiles who enable, finance, and committed terrible crimes on children. Impeach Trump. Impeach Noam. Impeach them all. Thank you.
Well, good afternoon, and thank you all for being here. I'm Representative Ann Rowe from the 44th, just a couple blocks over. Thank you all. I think there's huge value, huge therapeutic benefit from being together and being loud. And as my husband, you know, my senior intern, who reminded me, he's like, don't you have a couple stories about Brian Stahl? And I'm like, oh, indeed I do. So, you know, someone said, hey, you know, we live across the street. That light bulb on his porch has been out for 2 years. He's not there. Where are you, Brian? He had to ask where the farmer's market was. What? Really? He came up to me when I was running for this seat, and he said, you know, I love your campaign signs. They're really great. The colors are great. And went on at length about it, and I'm like, dude, we're not friends, but thank you. And I said, you know, I can just put one in your yard. You're never there. You'll never know. Right? So be loud. We got a lot of great stuff done this week because we were loud and we were fierce. And we are fueled by you all. So you matter. Your voices matter. We hear you. We need you. Keep it up.
I did get a question about whether it was okay to speak a second time if we ran out of people willing to speak for a first time. So do we have anyone else who has not spoken yet that wants to speak? Please don't be shy. You can talk about anything you want within our civility rules. Going once, twice. Thank you. Come on. Oh wait, you're a second time, aren't you? Okay. Is it? I think I see someone who. Are you coming down here to speak for a first time, Ellen? No. Okay. All right. So, I think I have 3 people who have requested to speak a second time. So we will go through them in order. But if someone wants to speak for the first time, you get priority. So again, don't be shy. Please don't be shy.
Back again. Are you tired of me yet? Well, I want to voice my opinion again. My name is Gerald Rieger. And Ron Johnson, I hate to say it, but he's a liar. He promised he was a one-term senator, and I believe he's on his 3rd term right now, if I'm correct. And I believe he has a right to change his mind. I believe in that freedom. You have a right to change your mind, but admit to it that you're a liar. We're dealing with some modern day Hitlers right now in Trump, Putin, Assad, several of them. And I think the world needs to wake up because, in my opinion, they're modern day Hitlers, and I don't believe in making martyrs out of them, but they're going to destroy the world, and we need to stop them before 6 million innocent Jews died under Hitler's regime. And something needs to happen now and fast. That's all I gotta say. I picked up trash. I built buildings. I've done a lot of construction work. I've recently been diagnosed with MS, which is an autoimmune disease. There's no cure for it, but they got medicine that can slow it down, and I'm not giving up. I got too much to live for. I got 2 grandchildren that need me and a daughter, and I'm not giving up. I'm gonna fight till the end. And I'm going through therapy for a stroke that I had in my right arm, and it's helping a lot, and I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna eat a lot of spinach, like Popeye, and I'm gonna come back stronger and better than ever. As Edwin Starr says, war, what is it good for? Absolutely nothing. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Wendy, and I moved to Janesville in 1989, so I've been here a while. One thing that has really troubled me is the disinformation, and I'm sure many of you are aware of it, and it's like there's 2 different feeds going on. I have a wonderful window into the other feed because all 3 of my children are in it, which is hard, but you know what? It gives me a window, and we have conversations sometimes. But one thing that has really troubled me recently was this whole thing about voter fraud and rigged elections and yada, 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 yada. And to listen to Ron Johnson back the SAVE Act when we know he was willing to present false electoral votes in 2021 to stop the official acceptance of Biden's election? To know that? I don't understand. I don't understand how that's okay. I don't understand how they get so angry and make all these huge accusations about rapists and murderers and people coming over the border, when in fact our own citizens are far more guilty of that. So there's just so much hypocrisy. Talk to your neighbors, talk to people, try to reason it out. That's all I know I can do. Thank you.
My name is Cooper Crines. I'm with the Rock River DSA. I might sound shooken up because I've never spoken like this, and I'm not like a speaking type person, but I just wanted to, I don't really have anything special to say because everything pretty much I have to say has already been said, but I just want to say, I just want our representatives and senators to be on the right side of history, and I want them to do what is right. That's about it.
Hi, my name is Cynthia, and I'm District 1 resident. I don't think anyone here would fit under this category, but we are definitely democracy versus a dictatorship way down the road, so don't have any doubt in your mind to speak out and to do whatever you can to resist in any way you feel comfortable, whether that's talking in front of a crowd, calling your representatives, writing letters, persuading your neighbors to look at the news that's reputable and not propaganda. But we are down the road of dictatorship, and unless we the people do something, we will be like Russia. And read whatever you can about that. It is not a good place to be. Also, someone brought up that this is all about the wealth gap. That is totally true. The ultra-rich know that they're totally outnumbered, and that's why they're probably building detention camps for all of us who are dissenters. The immigrant situation was just a ruse. So please pay attention and do whatever you feel comfortable doing to resist our dictatorship.
I did want to say one more thing, and that is the
The great Martin Luther King once said that no lie can live forever. And that's how I control my anger. I voted for Republicans in the past and Democrats, but no lie can live forever. And his mentor, the great Mahatma Gandhi of India, we got to be careful not to get overly mad. I'm going to see these people off, like Gandhi would say, as friends. Not enemies, friends. They do what they have to do, we do what we have to do. But the good news is, of all the lies I've ever heard, and we got a convicted liar up there this time, I don't lose a lot of sleep because I know, and I've seen it, and I'll admit it, no lie can live forever.
I just wanted to say that online there is an alternative to his State of the Union address, February 24th at 8:30 p.m., the night of his address, on moveon.org. And it's going to be live, and there's going to be a bunch of different politicians on that. And I would urge all of you not to watch his State of the Union. And this moveon.org is a very good organization and for the people. And one thing, what is impeaching going to do? They're not doing anything to him. He's got all these crimes he's committed, and he hasn't been touched. I mean, they ripped Andrew's title away and threw him in prison. Why don't we do that? I don't get it. There's so much corruption at the top right now. It is just unbelievable. And I think it's wonderful, the people that showed up here today, but I sure wish there would have been a lot more. And I also wish our representatives would have cared enough to be down here and really listen to us, because we're the ones that voted for them. Well, some of them. And it would have been nice to show that they cared. Thank you.
Hello again. I'm still Bill. 90 seconds goes really fast, I'll tell you. So what did we get for our investment in ICE? On January 24th, Minneapolis resident Alex Preddy was murdered by ICE agents, the second killing that month after the death of Renee Good. The entire administration, President Donald Trump, Kristi Noem, Dan Bongino, they called them domestic terrorists, and the right-wing echo chamber said the same thing. Fortunately, there were recordings of that, video recordings that showed that that was not the case. Here's where our feckless Senator Ron Johnson comes in. At a hearing at the Capitol, our senator shouted at Minnesota Attorney General Keith Ellison, as he had to the governor of Minnesota and to the mayor of Minneapolis, accusing them of being responsible for Alex Preddy's death because they had encouraged people to protest. Johnson called him and them despicable, a label that would be better applied to himself. One more thing, Brian Stile has a bill apparently to limit the investing in stocks by members of Congress. To me, the analogy is that's like saying shoplifting a candy bar for a child is wrong, while the President of the United States is robbing the bank at the same time. Thank you.
Hello, John Perryman again, candidate for State Assembly. I want to talk a little bit about authoritarianism because that's been a recurring theme. And I want to thank the veterans who came up here and spoke out against it. As you look at what other authoritarian countries have gone through the progression, and it's just a really striking, disturbing parallelisms that we see here. You see the threats to academia. You see the threats to political enemies. You see the threats to the press and the media. And then you have ICE. And the point of ICE is not just immigration, it is fear. And that is the point. Because part of being an authoritarian regime is fear. And in order to have a proper authoritarian regime, people need to be afraid of you. And that is what ICE is being trained for right now. So we have to be, the immigration part is a huge part of it, protecting our neighbors, but it's deeper than that too, because we are really at threat. There's nothing that guarantees the survival of this democracy except us. So I'm so happy to see people here. Again, thank you to the veterans who spoke up, because they really understand that what is being done by many of our Republican leaders does not follow our founding document. So thank you very much.
All right. Hi, I'm Sue Shane, and I grew up here in Janesville. My first job was at Mercy. I'm 64 years old now. I've lived in Arizona teaching for quite a while, but I've been back for a while now too. I now work at Children's Wisconsin for Family Resource Center. We used to have a very large Hispanic, Latino families, and I've watched them terrified. Many have self-deported. Some have separated from their kids and sent their kids elsewhere with other family relatives because they're afraid. And we now have hardly any families that we work with. But one thing I wanted to say, and I'm probably going to run out of time, but I wanted to talk a little bit about the Patriot Act, because they are spying on us. I have been in service my whole adult life to others, and I have a background check every year. I'm not a criminal, and I'm pretty sure I am considered a domestic terrorist now. They have domestic terrorist lists that they are putting protesters on, and anyone, okay, I see the flashing. So all I want to say is, I see stop. So thank you.
My name is Ellen Hawley. I'm from Elkhorn, and I'm here to represent Walworth County Indivisible. I, too, am on the domestic terrorist list, I'm sure, and a whole bunch of us in this room will be holding hands as we do that, and as we get dragged away. I'm here to cheerlead a little bit. I look at some of the people that have been speaking, and some of us have been doing this for a long time, decades, and we're tired, and it takes its toll on relationships and families and health. But I want to encourage you, keep showing up. You got to keep showing up. And for those brave people who came up and spoke for the first time, bless you. It is hard to do that, and I have the utmost respect for you. And I encourage you, put your toe a little bit farther over that line. Come to a protest. They do 3 a week here in Janesville. In Delavan, we do one generally once a week. Get involved. Encourage your friends to get involved. Voting is no longer enough. So please, 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 those of us who are older, those of us who are tired, thank you to the young'uns who are going to be taking the baton. But in the meantime, we need every single one of us. Show up, be angry, keep showing up. Take that anger and take that anxiousness and put it into action. Solidarity.
Hi, my name is Fred Hookham, and my wife isn't here today because she is under the weather, got a bit of a cold and whatnot. She would be more than happy to see me standing up here, even though I really didn't want to do it, because I'm not shouting at my TV like I have been for the last about a year. There are so many things wrong with this country right now. I can't even begin to address a list. If I just said passwords, you'd be leaving some of them out. It's time that the rest of us have got to get up on our feet and take this government away from the leadership that we've got going now. That ain't all 4 of them, but there's a couple on there that if they were going to take the rest of the time and go fishing, I'd buy them bait. That's how we have to approach this. They're not bad people, they're just silly, stupid, irrational, anything you like. I'll say hi to them, but I'll be doggone if I'll vote for them again. I hope we can all get together and keep this moving in the right direction. ICE ought to be simply abolished. If everybody in Janesville who's a cop can wear a badge and be identified and do everything according to the law and use a search warrant, there's no reason in the world that those other hired thugs can't follow those same rules. Thank you. Just to clarify, the reason I wear a mask is I'm a recovering cancer patient up at UW, Wisconsin. And because the government funds a lot of research, that's why I'm here to talk to you today. They literally saved my life, and I'm trying to keep saving it.
I wasn't going to flap my jaws today because I had been flapping them since 2015 when he came down the escalator and announced he was running for president. But I have to say that sure, don't watch the State of the Union, but watch it recorded. The State of the Union, they take counts on how many people are paying attention to him, but if you watch it on recording, it won't be counted. But please watch the rebuttal live because it's being done by Abigail Spanberger. And if you get a chance, please read her biography. Talk about a patriot. Wow. Please listen to what she says after he does his speech on the 24th, I believe, Tuesday night. Thank you.
My name is Lenny Knickerbocker. I'm from Janesville. I'm a man of faith, and my God is a God of compassion, of mercy, and justice. And so I'm trying to find out where God is in all of this that we're experiencing here in our country. One of the things that really bugs me, and my wife will know this, is when I hear people, and primarily politicians, at the end of their presentation say, "And God bless America." Oh, that drives me nuts when I hear that. Because I'm asking them now to please end it with, "God help America."
Anybody else? Okay, I'm going to speak. My name is Edie Barron. I live in Janesville. And my comments are to Brian Stile and Ron Johnson. I don't know you personally. You don't know me. But I want you to know a few things about me. I'm an immigrant. And I remember helping my mom study. This always chokes me up. Helping to study for her test to become a citizen. And I remember the day when my older sister and I stood with my mom and we said the pledge to the flag. And how meaningful and important that was. Obviously, it still is to me. I rarely cry in public. And I don't know about every immigrant, but I think I speak for a lot of us when I say it's important for us to say we are citizens of this country, and we don't like what you're doing to our country. My personal question to you, Brian and Ron, I know you were raised to be good human beings. What happened to you that you two have become so cruel that you can take immigrants and lock them up and separate children from their families? What happened to you? Was it power? was it money that corrupted you? That's all. What happened? Thank you.
Can you hear me? I have 3 words for you. One is a 2-word, 3-word. White Christian nationalism is not Christian. The next word is apathy. We have too much apathy in this country. Too many people thinking that somebody else is going to do it. We need more people at our protests 3 times a week. We need more people here. And the next word is the word yet. It hasn't happened to us yet, but it will. It's coming. Just because we are not people of color, it is coming. So remember the word yet. And when somebody says, well, what can I do? It's not happening, nothing's happening to me. It hasn't happened to you yet. Those are my words.
Thank you, everyone. We are kind of wrapping it up here, and I have been asked to announce when the local protests are that happen here in Janesville. So here we go. There are 3 local protests that recur every single week right here in Janesville. There is on Wednesdays at 4:30 p.m. Most people just stay until 5, so it's pretty short, it's easy to do. And this is on Main Street, right outside the Old Town Mall, which is where Brian Stiles' office is. I can't remember the address off the top of my head, but it's the Old Town Mall on Main Street in Janesville, and that is Wednesdays, 4:30 to 5. Then, Fridays, also 4:30 to 5, on Milton Avenue, by the Dairy Queen and the post office. I would used to say by the post office, but the Dairy Queen is now closer to the street, so, you know. So that is Fridays, 4:30 to 5, Milton Avenue by the Dairy Queen and the post office. And also, we don't mess around, Saturdays, from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m., that's longer, it's an hour, but you know what, if you can't do an hour in the cold, come for whatever you can. And that is at the corner of Highway 26 and Highway 14, otherwise known as Milton Avenue and Humes Road, on the corner near the Qdoba and Festival Foods. Sometimes we've had people stand on the other corners, but usually we're just on the one by Festival Foods. So that is Saturdays, 10 to 11, near Festival Foods. So those are the 3 recurring protests in Janesville that happen every week. Also, I've been asked to announce about No Kings, which will be a really big protest day through the whole country and is going to be super exciting. That is on Saturday, March 28th. And our plans for a Janesville event are not super firmed up yet. We are still working on them, but it's probably going to be downtown in Courthouse Park, just like the last No Kings was back in the fall. And we are probably looking at starting at 10 a.m. Is it 10 a.m.? Okay. Again, this is tentative. We don't know if we have all these facilities yet, but what we're looking at tentatively doing is starting at across the river at the pavilion in the town square where the farmers market is held. See, we're not Brian Stiles, so we know where the farmers market is. So we're looking at starting over there, having a march like 1 block across the bridge, and then having some kind of speakers and event in Courthouse Park. Again, that's tentative, but the date, Saturday, March 28th, is firm, and that is when No Kings is happening throughout the country. So there's going to be a lot of other local events in the other surrounding communities too.
I just want to add to what Christina said. At the town hall table, we have an information sheet that has a lot of what Christina said, and then other information about how to get in touch with your senators and representatives. And all the tables out there have a lot of information. So please visit the tables before you go. We have another speaker here and another speaker there. If anybody wants to speak for the first time, please come on down and we'll make sure that all first-time speakers get a chance to speak. Thank you again for coming out. And Sue, you ready? Okay.
She's a first-time speaker. Can she go first?
Okay, I'm sorry. Okay, thank you. I just want to say I'm Angela Clark. I live here in Janesville, and I'm looking around this auditorium. Angela Clark, I live in Janesville. I'm interested in getting on the Patriot domestic terrorist list. But as I look around, I don't see a full auditorium. And in my mind, I really believe it's because some people are in shock. They're processing, they're not believing what they're seeing. Just like Germany had to have been during the rise of the Nazis and Hitler. And they, they're depressed. I have to say, I think so many people are fighting depression. When we look around and we see what's happening and how it's impacting our neighbors and our lives, we are just, I was in the military. It meant something. It meant a lot. And I was so proud. And that was in the old days. I'm old. And I wasn't in combat, and I wasn't on a ship in the Navy. But you know what? It meant something. And now I am worried. I'm just worried, and I feel, I used to say, be a proponent of kids joining the military. Yes, it's a wonderful experience. Now it's like, oh my God, no, you're going to be used against people. Don't join the military. I'm sorry, it's not what it used to be. Anyway, we need people to step up and show love for our country.
Hi, Sue again. I did want to say something about white Christian nationalism because it was brought up, and it's one of the things I've been thinking a lot about because I grew up in an evangelical church. And I just want to say we've been here in our country before. This has nothing to do with Jesus or God. Dehumanizing indigenous people, calling them heathens, savage. These are the same people that went into Native American camps and stole their children and took them to boarding homes. These are the same people that used Christianity to defend slavery. These are the same people who, after the Civil War, were responsible for Jim Crow laws. This has been in our country for a long time, and here we are again. 30 seconds. We have to win in November. Democrats have to win in November. I think people have to resist any way they possibly can. Thank you.
Well, on behalf of our organizers, the League of Women Voters of Janesville, Indivisible, and the Town Hall Coalition, I want to thank you all for coming and exercising your democratic rights. So thank you for being civil and respectful and for listening even when emotions are high. Thank you so much to our organizers and our sponsors. Your recorded comments will be sent to the legislators, and the videos will be available through the Town Hall Coalition. Written comments can be placed in the Town Hall Coalition baskets on the table in the Commons, or you can give them to one of our greeters and they'll deliver them. If your contact name and information are on the correspondence, we've asked that the legislators respond to you specifically about your comments. Please continue your regular participation in defending democracy and empowering voters. Visit our sponsor tables in the Commons area. At the League of Women Voters tables, you can register to vote. The League also provides information on where to vote, races, candidate positions, referenda on your ballot, and a wealth of other information. Consider joining the League of Women Voters Unite and Rise 8.5 campaign to defend democracy and engage 8.5 million voters. Thank you once again, and on Wisconsin.